So I gave this setup a whole bunch of pupae here. This queen's really good with this ant, and this ant is really good at taking care of the young. So I just piled a whole bunch in there, and as you can see, he's gonna grab every single one of these pupae and he's gonna pile them up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this setup. Every time a worker is born, I'm gonna give it to another setup. I got 10 setups. I would like them each to have, 5 workers. How many pupae I got in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Got about 18 pupae in there. And I think there's 2 or 3 larvae. But out of the 10 setups that I have, this queen and this worker are the only one that are like hanging out together. I already saw this queen with a pupae in her mouth. As you can see, there's no fear between these two at all. With my other setups, pretty much the queen and the worker are, for the most part, keeping their distance. Usually one will be at one end with a couple of larvae and the queen will be at the other end. But in this one here, they're hanging out together. So I really like the temperament of this queen. There's that worker making a pile there. That's the thing too, I did 10 setups. Out of 10 setups, the queen killed 2 of the workers because the workers were too aggressive and they wouldn't leave the queen alone. So there's 8 left. And out of those 8, I gave one a pile of eggs, which the worker just completely neglected. They were all scattered there. Then I tried to clean them up with a toothpick. Of course, I squished them. And then probably, I don't know, 5, 6 workers, or I'd say 5 workers, at least piled their larvae. Everyone's got 2, 3 larvae. 5 workers at least piled the larvae. I got another worker who's got like 1 larvae, one end, 1 larvae at the other end. But this has been the best worker that, piled up all the larvae immediately, took it to the right end. So this is my most promising setup here. And since this queen's getting all the pupae, she's gonna be exposed to the nest the longest. Watch this guy grab one more. That'll be it. Okay, I wanted to do a quick video of my 10 parasitic Lasius claviger queens. I've had all these queens for 1 month. How I got them is I have a huge colony underneath my porch, and I came home and they were all swarming. Like I could see them. I have a car. My car's bright yellow. They were all swarming around my car, and I could see ants flying in, and mixing with the ants that were coming from the colony underneath my porch. My car had like hundreds of ant wings all over it. It was just covered in ant wings. And so anyway, I scooped up 20 of them. They're Lasius claviger. Now what I got here is 10 that I've set up with Lasius neoniger workers. This is the 2017 version. I tried this last year. I had 9 queens. I ended up, I did have a Lasius claviger worker born, but by the time it was born, I had already gotten rid of all the queens because they take a long time. Like, I've already had these guys for a month. They're gonna go in hibernation today, and they won't be out till April. So today's November 6th. They won't be out to the beginning of April. So that's 5 months plus the month I've had them. That's 6 months. Plus, before the time it takes before you're going to see a worker is another month. So you're looking at minimum 7 months of caring for these before you can get any type of worker or anything like that. So I have 10 here, and unfortunately, my Lasius neoniger colony, when I took it out of hibernation, all the workers had died. That was a 2-year colony. She had 50, 60 workers in there. You know, I had already poached a whole bunch of her workers for last year's parasitic queens. So she lost all her workers. So this year, when I went to farm workers from her, there wasn't a lot for me to take. So I ended up just putting 1 ant with each one of these queens. And then what I did was I just put a couple pupae. I tried to put a couple pupae with all of them. And so most of them have 3 workers, but except for this was a colony I had. I put lots of pupae in this one. These workers were caring for the pupae the best out of like all of them, because the problem is if you only put 1 ant with these queens, and then you try to give that 1 ant larva, you try to give that 1 ant pupae, sometimes the ant doesn't take care of it. Like, it's a really bad ant, like, and it'll just let the larvae die, it'll let the pupae die, or it'll just ignore it, or it'll constantly be pestering the queen, or just constantly running back and forth, getting the queen agitated. So I had to actually get rid of a couple of workers that just would not get along with the queen until I found some tame ones. I finally got 10 tame ones in there, and then what I did was I took about 15 pupae. I put all the pupae in this one test tube right here, and then as the callow workers were born from the pupae in this test tube, I would take them and I would put them into these other ones here. So like I said, most of these have 3. This one has 3. That one looks like it only has 1. A couple of them only have 1 or 2. But these are all successful introductions. Those are Lasius neoniger workers. This is actually a bad sign here. When you see the queen that it's not interacting with the workers, and it just sits there like that. Like, there's actually 2 workers here. Doesn't seem like I'm getting the best video here. It's iPhone 8 Plus. But yeah, 2 workers there. And then you have the queen. I put a cotton ball in there soaked with sugar water. And usually, like, this queen just hides under there. She's not interacting with the workers at all. But the rest of these introductions are pretty good. Lots of interaction, especially with this one here. But yeah, I just wanted to show that I got 10 here, and for sure I'm getting colonies out of this, because now that I know how long it takes, I'm just not going to be too quick to get rid of these queens. I'm going to take them out in April, and I'm going to keep them for minimum 2 months. And I guarantee you I'll have colonies out of this. All right, see ya.